Hello, cats and kittens. Odewa Jose, Yoroshiku. Welcome back to Manga Monday. And here I'm giving my impressions of One Piece chapter 1030, which is entitled Echoing the Impermanence of All Things. Now, this is continuing the theme that a great change is coming. Hawkins, uh, he pulled out that card that basically, the Tower card. There's a big change about to come about. Now, I'm limited in my impressions to a certain degree because I don't really care about some of these undercards, which is not to say they're not important. For example, we open up with Apu against Drake. Now, as I recall, Drake and Zoro were fighting Apu. Somehow it turned into a 1v1 between Drake and Apu, but I think at some point Queen turned on Apu or something like that. I think Apu fell out of favor with somebody at some point. I can't even swear by that, but whatever. So it breaks down to the two of them going one-on-one, which has been going on off screen for a while. Fine. Now, by the time we catch up with them at the opening, Apu is suggesting an alliance. Let's say he says, what do you think? Want to join with us? These three numbers 1, 2, and 3, that apparently he has in his store, I guess due to the music or whatever. So he has these three numbers, and he says, join us, and sees it all at the very end. We're not engaged. We're not aligned with anyone here. Why should we fight each other? Whatever. Usually you employ the alliance. You throw out the alliance card basically when you reach an impasse, a stalemate, or whatever. I guess which is to say that the three numbers in the pool are on equal footing with Drake. So he says, all right, let's not kill each other and join forces. He acknowledges that he's a Navy spy, so likely he won't turn on. He's going to fulfill his mission. I don't see where Drake would join this alliance, but at the same time, I'm trying to wonder why Apu and these three numbers don't just curb stomp Drake and do whatever they want to do. So there's supposed to be some mutualism here. I don't understand exactly what it would be, but he does suggest let's have this alliance and sweep through. And when everybody's all tired and beat up, and they'll take out Kaido, I guess he does say, let me see. I guess specifically he wants to take out Kaido, is it? I'm looking. Yeah. Whether you want to take out Kaido or not. Did the Navy send Drake there to take out Kaido or just a spy? I don't think was sent there to take out Kaido because he can't. So the point is that Apu offers an alliance with Drake to the end of joining forces and taking out Kaido. I guess him and those two and the three numbers. But the more important thing here is that I've heard it suggested that one of the numbers these three numbers could be the samurai that were in the cave with Yamato and one of the flashbacks, that potentially they were turned into numbers when they didn't yield to Kaido. And if that's the case, one of those numbers could be related to Zoro. All well and good. That'll play itself out. It's another layer. It's another layer to this crescendo that Oda's plotting. What'll come of it? It seemed like another side quest to me, but we'll see. Now, this bit, this is swallowed by the Kinemon. First of all, Kinemon still being alive is weird to me. Although I wasn't terribly sure that he was dead, but he's still alive, but he's cut in half because apparently the chop that Law gave him back on Punk Hazard didn't take properly. So he's he survived being killed by Kaido, and he's back in half. Even more weirdly, he's running around literally talking out his butt because he's cut in half, and his lower extremity is running around looking for help, literally talking out his butt, which is just blew me. It's weird, Another side quest. So in this, he comes upon Usopp and Nami, explains that Kiku needs help, and she's dying, and can you please help her? So we get another side quest where it looks like Usopp is going off with his lower half to go save Kiku. All right, so Kinemon's lower half is running off with Usopp on the side quest. Again, I'm not terribly. This ain't the uppermost on my mind. It's there. It's what it is. It's kind of weird to me that his bottom half is so lively, but his top half is like on death's door. Apparently, can't even move. It's weird. Is all I'm saying. And it's again it's not on top of my head. I'm not saying I don't care. I just don't care as much as some of the stuff that's going on in the story. But again, it's not bad. It's just what it is. Now, not only is Kinemon and Kiku barely alive, but also we have Kanjuro is still alive barely. And Orochi is goading him into creating one last creation with his art to further the destruction of the Onigashima. So he creates Kazembo, which ultimately is a yokai, a Japanese legend, a yokai or some samurai that tried to burn themselves so they could achieve some kind of Buddha-like state, but it didn't really take, and they just turned into yokai, long story short. So you got Kanjuro, I'm not, is this his swan song? Is he creating this yokai and then that's it? I mean, I'm done with Kanjuro. I mean, if he creates this yokai and then drops dead, because it looked like after it comes to life as a thud and he hits the floor. So I'm good if he's done, because I'm done with Kanjuro. So he creates his yokai. So now you got a burning, fights going on in a burning house with dynamite in the basement, and then another burning element brought into the situation to further, exacerbate things or whatever. Because Orochi had Kanjuro send this fiery yokai down to the basement to light up, to detonate the explosives to kill everybody in there. Because he's on some, just straight up burn it all down type. He's in burn it all down mode. Whereas he's going to escape with Fukurokujo, who I haven't seen in a while. So Orochi intends to have this kaiju burning yokai go down there, light the flames of the bombs that are in the basement, and then Orochi escapes with Fukurokujo and does whatever he's going to do after that. That's his plan. Now, how he's going to find Fukurokujo, I don't know. I haven't seen him. I assume he's still ill. He was fighting, right? What you call him? Right, whatever his name is, the ninja. Another side story. So, all right, so Oda's stacking side quest on side quest and more tension. He's got to find a release at some point. And also, my man Momo was still trying to make enough clouds to keep Onigashima aloft. So we're just doing check-ins. Now, funny thing is, when you think about who is going to stop this yokai, this fiery yokai, you got fire going on inside a burning building. Who's going to stop this? People with ice power. You got Yamato, you got Brook. They got ice, which should do some effect against fire. And then you got my man, Jinbei, who can control water. But you say there's fire everywhere. What good is that? See, now you go back to that Naruto dream where you can use jutsu even when there's no water present. You know what I'm saying? He might pull that, which would just tickle me to no end. But all right, let's take Jinbei out of it. So you got two people that can. Well, then again, if they're going to create ice, man, you create ice where no water is present. Okay, whatever. And then through all of this, you got the CP9 people calmly walking about doing their business. Always be cautious of the dude that keeps calm in a burning house. They either crazy or they know something. So they're calmly strolling about getting ready to do it. They're going after Nico Robin or whatever. So there's that. And then we check in, you see various people are fighting. You see that Sanji is no longer running from Queen, but is fighting. Luffy's fighting Kaido, and Zoro's fighting King. Okay. Which brings us to, I already talked about Yamato's on the way down to the basement to try to stop the bombs from detonating, which there's another level of tension. Is she going to run into the yokai? I don't know. Well, it would be a good match, ice against fire, but then you got the overall theme of the fire that's already consuming Onigashima. And ultimately, I think the bombs are going to be used for a purpose. I don't think they're going to blow up. They might be used against the Marines, as far as we know. But that's a guess. So then we get to the main event, which is Kid Law versus Big Mom. Big Mom is just shot off, Ikoku sovereignty, however you pronounce that, which and I'm looking at this, it looks like Kid had his armor built up around himself and it just broke it all off. So I don't know if he tanked it directly, but it looked like he had his Punk Gibson armor or whatever around himself and it just shattered it. And he's falling out the window and it looked like it's over for him. But we do the flashback and we find out that Kid and Law had hatched a plan based on the fact that they had both awakened their devil fruits, which is interesting. And apparently, using your awakened abilities, assuming that you just come by them, you've just gained the ability to use them, costs you a whole lot of stamina. And I say that because Doflamingo then had no problem using his for a long period of time while he was fighting Luffy. So he must have already had his awakening for a good while, because he used it almost indefinitely while he was fighting Luffy and with no trouble. These two must have just awakened theirs not too long ago, because they state that ultimately they can use it in the battle, but it costs them a lot in stamina, and it seems like if it doesn't work, then they're done. They're basically, they won't have any gas left to continue the fight. So there's that. Now, the specifics of how these awakened abilities work is interesting. I've always contended that Law's Devil Fruit power is broke. It's absolutely broken. It gets nerfed, basically, for him to participate in some of these fights. His awakened ability is that apparently he can create this croon, which is of a higher stature than his usual wound, to inflict damage to a person I guess on the inside, because he already has stated earlier in earlier chapters that he can't use room against Big Mom and Kaido because their hockey was too strong. So apparently Kroon can bypass that and inflict damage, which he does, anesthesia. He looks like the injection shot, but it catches her coming out of the chin. I don't know if that's the actual sword or is it like I don't know how that works anyway. So it penetrates to some degree and just gives her creates a shockwave. It looks like anyway, creates a shockwave that really, really hurts. Apparently, she's coughing up bloods like smoke's coming out of her mouth. Like I say, either he seems like he bypassed her hockey. If she had her, I'm assuming she had her armament up this whole time. He bypassed that and inflicts damage. She's not done because she turns and she's about to get, going to the offensive against him. He says, "You really done it now, you little brat." So she's about to turn her attention on Law, but then in this combo attack, Kid uses his awakened devil fruit and basically turns her into a magnet, which ultimately kind of reminds me of Chibaku Tensei if you're a Naruto reader, except for it's with magnetism. You know, Chibaku Tensei is pain. That's Naruto. If you're not a Naruto head, don't worry about it. Anyway, so he assigns her the attributes of a magnet, and all of the magnetism comes crashing down on her. Now, my question is his intention to crush her to death? Because I'm not sure if that's going to work. If her hockey stays down, and we're talking about hockey advanced level, because they're not just fighting some cat, you know what I'm saying? They're fighting somebody who has hockey, no doubt advanced armament hockey, most likely advanced conquerors hockey, and awakening. And I'm assuming her awakening is where she can turn other things. When she turns things into homies, is that just her devil fruit or is that the awakened ability? I don't know if we've seen her devil fruit ability awaken. But she has that ability. So I don't think this ends their fight with her. And if they've used up if they pulled out all of their tricks from their little bag of tricks, what's the next move? Because I don't think she's done. I mean, it's a Yonko. This ain't somebody that's not been hurt before. You know, and can the metal just crush her to death? If that's his plan? With her level of strength, I'm not sure that's going to be. I'm just curious as to how this works. I'm curious as to how this works because they've dealt her a blow, but I don't think it's a substantial enough blow to put her down. If put like this, if they put her down for the duration of that fight, I'm gonna call BS because I wouldn't buy it. If you're going to take down the Yonko, if the plan is to have the status quo of the Yonko upset to the point where either you take Big Mom or Kaido off the board and they're supplanted by a Luffy or a Kid or a Law. To me, they have to prove to have transcended it. You know what I mean? If they jump Kaido and put him down, that means that the level of the Yonko has dropped. You know what I mean? It just means that these guys got careless, they got jumped, and the measure of a Yonko takes a drop down because these dudes didn't one-on-one beat them down. You know what I mean? Blackbeard jumped into the spot of a dead man and therefore became a Yonko. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Blackbeard went one-on-one with Whitebeard, beat him soundly, and became Yonko. So technically, you know, Blackbeard, but he's got two devil fruits, so no question that he's powerful. And pretty much has been for a while. I mean, he went 1v1 with Shanks, left him with a scar, and didn't die. So he's at least strong enough to go one-on-one with Shanks, who's a Yonko, and hold his own, deal damage, or whatever. So I would say he deserves that spot. But these kids are coming up. If Luffy, Kid, or Law do not display the ability to beat one of these two without question, yeah, maybe they may jump them or whatever, or take them down a peg and assume that role, but it's just diminishing the value of what a Yonko is, in my opinion. So then the government really wouldn't have a whole lot to be worried about unless they continue advancing, until the point that they are actually as strong as somebody like one-on-one, of a Whitebeard, a black, so forth. But otherwise, I think it's just diminishing the value of the rank, in my opinion. Let me know what you think. But otherwise, it was a pretty good chapter. I had no problem with it, except for Kinemon talking out his butt and stuff like that. I especially dig that, but whatever. That's fine. And this One Piece. I love One Piece. It's the best thing going. So let me know what you think. And I'm looking forward to getting back to the major undercards and eventually the main event. So until then, stay loose. Look forward to the next chapter.